Once this bill has been passed this afternoon, we will then be in a position to use the contingency reserve account to provide support to the SABC, to Denel, and South African Airways. But this support, let me just give an indication that SABC requests 3.2 billion rand. We will not just make that available tomorrow, to be a mistake, but we will release in chunks as certain conditions precedent are met to make sure that there's progress in improving the organization.
Let's go to Bulelani Phillips, who's standing by in Cape Town for the latest on the recapitalizations of state-owned enterprises. Very good afternoon to you, Bulelani. Take us through what the Minister said about Denel and Eskom as well.
Well, good afternoon to you, Zinga, and to the viewers. Well, essentially, the Finance Minister, it was his day to table this Special Appropriations Bill, primarily targeting Eskom, which is a huge risk to the economy with a debt of about 422 billion rand. So this cash injection of about 59 billion rand over the next 2 years will actually make sure that the entity is kind of financially sustainable. It's able to pay its creditors, and it's also able to actually turn itself around to ensure that it goes on a path of renewal, ensuring that the economy is actually guaranteed of energy. But of course, the Finance Minister again also outlining plans of 3 other state-owned enterprises, SABC, as well as Denel, as well as the South African Airways. Of course, South African Airways, we know that they've got debt to the tune of 16.4 billion rand. And now we're hearing now that the Finance Minister is going to actually chip in and actually recapitalize the national carrier. Of course, for now, we don't know how much the SAA is going to be getting from the National Treasury. But of course, we do expect that, as the Finance Minister has said, that that announcement will be made tomorrow. Again, also, Denel, also with a debt of about 2.8 billion rand, also coming in for a rescue there with the announcement that they will also come in with this recapitalization. And lastly, the SABC failing and struggling to pay debtors to the tune of about 1.8 billion rand. Also guaranteed that they will get this cash injection from the Finance Minister and National Treasury. Of course, the SABC has been looking to get a guarantee of 3.2 billion rand, but the Finance Minister again is saying that this money is going to be released with certain strict conditions, and compliance is quite key in this emphasis, and saying that they're not necessarily going to be getting this money tomorrow. But of course, they will have to, oblige themselves to actually adhere to all of these, conditions that National Treasury will be putting in front of them. Of course, we do expect that the Finance Minister also is going to make an announcement on that tomorrow. Zinga?
Bulelani, we know that he wasn't very keen to hand out money. He spoke very strictly about all these state-owned enterprises. You've told us a little bit about the conditions. Tell us about the reaction to the Minister's speech.
Well, there's been opposition from the DA, particularly on the issue of procedural grounds, saying that, this Special Appropriations Bill actually has not taken into account some of the public comments as well as some of the recommendations that they have made on this amendment of the bill. So for them, it's around the issues of, ensuring that the bill actually goes through the necessary parliamentary processes in order for it to be tabled before the National Assembly. Now, of course, what they've said is that they possibly will be going to actually go for a legal review of these special appropriations. In other words, they want to go to court to ensure that Parliament follows all of these processes that the DA believes were never followed. Zinga?
Bulelani, we're also going to be hearing about these risk officers that are going to be announced tomorrow. Do you have any idea who they are and what kind of functions they'll perform?
That's right, Zinga. I think that's one of the emphasis points that has been made both in President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address as well as the previous budget speech. Chief risk officers are actually going to be people who are going to be working closely with the leadership of all of these entities into ensuring that they have turnaround strategies. And of course, they are also going to be ensuring that part and parcel of the work that the entities are doing is that they go through on all of the strategic plans that have been put in place and the conditions that have been put in place by National Treasury, as well as making sure that there's alignment towards these issues, the 7-point plan that the President has actually outlined in his State of the Nation address. So the issues of the chief risk officers is quite paramount as part of the conditions of these bailouts for these entities.
My colleague Bulelani Phillips giving us an update from Parliament there. Nompumelelo, it's over to you.